My partner wanted an open relationship with our bridesmaid that assaulted me on our wedding day. I told her it was because we're in an open relationship, which was what she asked for. She's the one that wanted to sleep with one of our bridesmaids that assaulted me in the worst way on the wedding day. She's the one that I gave money to so she could go see her. She's the one that I spent time and effort into making the house look nice to impress this other lady she wanted. But still, it didn't work out for her and I consoled her. But now she started to become more controlling. I kept saying to myself for years that it was the depression talking. But now she's been medicated, it's still been hard. We've both suffered quite a lot in the past 18 months, bereavement, family illness, and I want to call it quits. I have been discussing leaving with my therapist for a few months. My therapist said I've been sad for months now and I should consider that. After which the wife said something in a mildly threatening way. She noticed I was sad and said she'd have to beat up my therapist, which she assured me later was a joke. I didn't react well as she's done the same before towards myself and my other partner. The following day I spoke to her and she asked if I was going to break up with her. Even though I planned to wait a few more months and do this in person, I'm away at my other partner's place. I just told her I couldn't lie and said I thought it'd be best. She kind of exploded. Edit. Unfortunately all my friends are mutual friends, and are encouraging me to go back to her and call it off. I just feel unheard and confused. Update: my partner wanted an open relationship with our bridesmaid that assaulted me on our wedding day. My partner and I were together for 7 years and married for 1. A year after proposing, she got back in touch with her toxic friend who was coincidentally the first person she slept with. Myself and a mutual friend thought it wasn't going to work out well, but I'd have never imagined it turned into this. There was a lot of messaging, giggling, and compliments about how she's changed. Not long after I paid the deposit for the wedding venue, I picked her up from work. She told me that she wanted an open relationship. That hurt so much. I didn't want one, but she kept asking. I wasn't putting out enough and she wanted to do more sadistic stuff than I was into. In my defense, we were stressed from bereavement and family illness, work, I taught, and she was so messy I felt more like her mother than a wife. Seriously, we couldn't see the carpet in her bedroom and there were dirty dishes in her underwear drawer. I did nearly all of the household chores. She finally said she was worried that she'd grow to resent me if we didn't open the relationship. I posted about this in polyamory about months ago and was informed this is called poly under duress. Things continued uneventfully. I got therapy to help with the stress of this and thought I was making progress. This friend had no interest in my wife. I consoled her and paid for her to go spend more time with her. What a fool. When the friend and her husband visited the house, I spent 12 hours cleaning after roping in my family to help. My mother was still recovering from cancer but she wanted to help. In thanks, I got a barrage of texts saying I wasn't there for her mother's memorial service and I let her down. She never once asked for me to be there, just generic "I can't do this" comments, which I supported her through. Part of the reason I never went was that while providing care for her dying mother I went through her brother's post. It was wrong of me to intrude, but it turns out he wasn't paying his tax. I had been giving money to her to support her family, for a long time, but none of them knew who it was from. Her mother thought her father had it. Her father was too ashamed to say he gave $15,000 to his son who blew it on drugs to tell her. My wife was too ashamed to tell him she didn't have enough money, so I gave it to him. I feel so stupid for wasting my money on them. I only hope it made her mother comfortable as she was very kind to me. Yes, you read the title right. Sorry if it hurt your brain. This friend on the wedding day essay me. I told them that the behavior was unacceptable and to never do it again or I'll remove her from my life. To be fair, she did after a month or so apologize to me, after apologizing to my wife first. At the reception, one of my favorite jazz songs played, "The Way You Look Tonight" Sinatra. I tried to get my wife to dance with me but she was smiling, giggling, drinking with her. I watched another couple dance to it. That Halloween, while after a friend's party I got a DM on Twitter from some guy. I was looking for more people to make friends and we really hit it off. We managed to talk back and forth messaging for 8 hours one day. We talked for a few weeks then started playing video games together. Things got flirty fast. I told my wife about him. She was jealous of me due to how tall and handsome he was, but didn't mind I was talking to him. He's a really sweet guy. I was surprised when I caught feeling for him since this was the first guy I've ever been attracted to. He's honestly in my head all the time. This is called new relationship energy. I was still in therapy and learned how to hinge, or manage both relationships and ensure I was making time for my wife. Daily quality time, trips, acts of service like tucking her into bed every night, and massages. It wasn't too hard because he and I live on different continents, so after she went to bed I could talk to him. I didn't get much sleep, but talking to him made me so happy. That spring I did something I'd never get to do, meet him. I flew out to see him, with nightly calls to my wife. He was even more kind, sweet, and gentle in person. Our relationship continued to grow. We had a wonderful time, and we both cried the night I had to leave. I kept this going. It was stressful but rewarding and I thought everyone was happy. I planned another trip for the summer and was very excited to see him. My wife still was upset about how little we had intimacy, but I didn't know what I could do at that point. I was on anxiety medication that reduced my drive and always offered to help, but it would have been hard for me to get off myself. She caught me off guard one day. While I was sat on the sofa she shouted at me. She didn't just shout, she shouted at me. Aggressively. She said, "Give me one reason I should let you see him?" She snapped at me a lot, told me to get out the bedroom to leave me to cry in my car, but never talked to me like that before. I was shocked, but I firmly said, "Because we are in an open relationship, what you asked for." Things after were a bit of a blur, but she backed down when I didn't roll over and apologize. On reflection I don't get why I deserve to be treated like that. I tried to support her even if the person she wanted to pursue assaulted me on the happiest day of my life. On the next visit, I had therapy and my therapist was alarmed at the comment my wife made. We talked a lot about potentially ending the relationship in a few months' time, but my therapist gunned for me to do it sooner, as in her words I had been unhappy for months. I was going to wait till January to see if things would improve. I'd hate to not give this my all. When I video called my wife that day, she noted I was sad, and said she'll hurt my therapist or my new partner. I made my excuses and left. The following day, the wife called anxiously to ask if I was thinking about breaking up with her. I tensed up. I couldn't lie to her. I told her I was and that I was so sorry. I just wanted her to be happy, and I honestly wasn't making her happy. I still loved her as a friend, etc. She exploded. I was glad we had the Atlantic Ocean between us. That was our breakup. She tried to get me back, but I couldn't do that again. My friends tried to persuade me, but apparently her version of events is quite different from mine. She tried to gaslight me. I meant it as a joke. I was there, I was actually there, and I heard what you said. I can't get over how in denial she was about it. These friends have drifted away from my life except one person. At New Year's, after she sent me and my partner a photo of a sword she got, I told her the next day I'd be filing for divorce. I'm currently at my boyfriend's house and been having a wonderful time. He said something that caught me off guard and made me cry, happily. He said, "You are enough." I never knew how much I needed to hear that moment. We danced just thinking about the way we look tonight.